And that's when this thing...
I screamed
and it all
and
happens
swore.
this part happens so fast.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna. Hello.
Hey. Okay, so we just watched the dark and twisted Barbarian movie. This movie is about a young woman that discovers the rental home that she booked is already occupied by a stranger. And against her better judgment, she enters the house. And that's kind of all we know going into this movie. That's how the previews were set up. That's how any sort of press around it, that was the story.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so this week I chose the movie because I went and saw this with my friend Virginia. Virginia, if you're listening, hello, over the summer. And okay, my favorite thing about horror movies is going with someone that hates horror movies. And this girl hates horror movies. She was screaming in the theater. She was losing her ever living shit. It was my favorite thing to bear witness to.
Oh no.
So, yes.
This is an intense one if you don't like horror movies. Yeah, this is a rough one.
So let's get into it. Had either of you heard much about it? I know you hadn't seen it, but had you heard much about it?
I realized after I watched the movie that I had seen the trailer in theater, but luckily I completely forgot about it because you warned us to go in completely blind. So I honestly didn't know what to expect going into the movie, but after I realized that we actually had, I had seen the trailer in a theater, but it was months ago. So yeah, I hadn't seen it. Not only had I not watched it, I have not seen a preview. I knew nothing about it. So I went in totally blind, not knowing anything that was going to happen, which was fun. It was awful. Yeah. This is definitely one of those where the less you know going into it, the better. Absolutely. I think knowing anything kind of spoils the movie a bit because it's a wild ride. Even if you saw the trailer, I think it's still going to be good. But going into it completely blind, it's more surprising that way. Yeah. Yep. Because I think that the first 30 minutes of the movie are a completely different movie than the rest of the movie. Yep. Yes. I actually, because nothing really that spooky had happened. And so I stopped the TV to see how long it had been. It had been about 30 minutes when things finally started to turn. Yeah. So, yeah. Definitely ramps up, changes. There's a shift. Okay, so speaking of the shift, we're going to talk about what we're sipping on tonight. I chose the drink tonight, unfortunately. You are a sick woman.
I am
When you said you wanted something, I think you said you wanted something with milk. I am so mad.
That's what I said.
I'm so mad at you.
I said, I want a cocktail that has milk in it. That was my requirement. And knowing that you two had no idea what I was talking about, I was like, oh, I cannot wait until they watch this movie. I cannot wait. So we went with a White Russian, which can be made with heavy cream or milk, depending on what you have. Basically, all it is 2 ounces vodka, 1 ounce Kahlua, and then a splash of milk or heavy cream. So that's what we're sipping on tonight.
And I went with milk.
Perfect.
Just to stick with it. I usually do almond milk with my White Russians, and then I call it a nutty Russian.
Oh, I like that.
Honestly, it's good. It's really good.
It's not like I'm making you drink it out of a bottle. It's not like
we should have. All right. We're going to go buy some bottles.
Yes, please do. Please.
That would have been amazing. Okay. So this movie, I think we're going to discuss it kind of in order of what things happen instead of breaking down the deaths, right? Because there were, honestly, at the end, we do get 5 deaths, which is a pretty solid number for the movie. But just because of the layout and the way that they did the storytelling, I think it makes sense to kind of just talk about things in order.
It's almost like it was done in acts. If this were a play, I feel like they would have been broken into the different acts.
Yeah.
There's the first act when they're at the house, and then the second, and then the third act. So so the first is opening up, like we said, with a woman who realizes that her Airbnb has been double booked for the night. There's already a guy in there, but it's raining, not a great neighborhood. She's there for a job interview. So they both kind of fumble around for a bit, but decide just to stay together. And we get the vibe that like there's tension building and you can't really tell where is this guy a creep? Is it just a weird situation?
Yeah. Okay. Now, did you guys recognize the actor who played Keith?
Yes, but I couldn't place him.
Same.
Okay. He played, his name is Bill Skarsgård. He played Pennywise.
Yes. Oh, that's totally it.
Yes. So as soon as he opened the door, it was like, oh, bad guy.
Bad guy.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
He has to be bad, right?
Yep. But then as their night kind of evolves, like we end up liking them as a duo and it's cute. Like it's endearing. And we're like, okay, everything's okay.
Well, see, now I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
So first when she gets in, he seems kind of like put out by the fact that she's there, but then he decides to kind of be way over eager about saying stay here, I'll make you tea. Okay, I realized you didn't drink your tea, because she's probably thinking, okay, this guy is trying to, drug me. But I'll open the wine in front of you. And it just, although it seems like they're then having a good time, I still didn't trust it. I was almost kind of thinking, this guy owns the house. He made up a fake second reservation. So he's trying to lure this woman in. Because again, not knowing anything about where the movie was going to go, I thought, this is the bad dude. This is his game. This is what's happening.
That's what I thought too. Well, and we'll get into even more so why I thought that later on. But I had an initial thought to that. And then later I even really thought that more.
Yeah. And so I feel like we have to talk about it. Was it convincing to you guys? Because I do think one criticism I had of this film is the entire time I was taking notes, the amount of times that I wrote, oh my God, no, don't go in there. Oh my God, no, don't do that. Was it believable to you guys that someone could reasonably convince to stay in a double booked Airbnb?
Because the thing is, even if there was a convention in town, there's got to be something.
Right? She called like one hotel.
With the ability to lock your own door, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible that, it's really late. You've got an interview the next day. You can't find another hotel.
And it is a really rough neighborhood. Like it's and it's important to remember that like the neighborhood that she was in, no, she didn't realize how rough it was, but she knew it wasn't great. So like she probably didn't want to go driving around trying to find something like, so at this point, I actually did kind of believe it.
Yeah.
At this point, I was okay. Yeah. Later on, I'm going to argue
absolutely
the decisions that were made.
And for me, for me, I had just come off of, I was on a plane. And so I was trying to pick some movie. And actually I had texted Brianna about it because it sounds cute, right? So at first I'm thinking, okay, this movie is like that new Katie Holmes movie that came out. It's called Alone Together. It's where she and some dude end up double booking the Airbnb. And they decide, honestly, I could not get through that movie. I don't know what about that movie it was, but like I had to change about an hour in because the acting was bad. The story sounded cute. It could have been a cute story like this one. Yeah. This one did a better job of a rom-com vibe than the Alone Together movie.
Yes.
So, so that's kind of what I was thinking about as I was watching it. I was like, oh, it's a cute rom-com, better than the Katie Holmes one. So I could believe it. But
okay, and I think one thing we should talk about is for the inspiration of the film, the director had just read the book, The Gift of Fear. I haven't read it. But it kind of talks about these microscopic red flags that as really women have to pay attention to that can usually be like ignored by men. A situation like that where it's like clearly we see it from her perspective and to I'm sure all of us were like there are so many red flags here. So do you think it would be different if it was two guys at the very beginning? Because on the one hand, I want to judge her for being like, how dare you stay at that Airbnb? But on the other hand, if it was two guys, Would it
That's a
make
good
more
question.
sense? Like, would it be more believable just because guys do kind of ignore those red flags that
I think it would have been. If it was two guys, I don't think it would have been a problem. It'd be like, yeah, man, I'll
Yeah.
take the couch. You take the bedroom. We'll
right?
figure this bullshit out in the morning.
No, it's
Yeah.
totally true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she even posed the question to him. She said, if the roles were reversed, I never would have let you in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's an interesting way to think about it. So
Right?
I actually wrote down a question for both of you.
Mhm.
That very first night, and we'll talk about later nights later, but would you have stayed?
Yes.
See, it's like on the one hand, I want to say no, but then on the other hand, like I know I've made probably what should have been bad calls before. I mean, I think I know all three of us have gotten into an Uber we weren't supposed to.
Yes. I
You
think I
know,
probably would have.
I think if it was something like that where there are no hotels, you're in a bad area, you're just trying to get a job.
My door
you're there for
has a lock on it.
Yeah, the door has a lock,
Mhm.
and she took a photo of his ID.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think she did all the right things.
Yeah,
She did. Yeah.
I think
Except for at the very end of the night, she locks every door every time she goes into a room, except for the very end of the night because they were having fun. She was drinking wine with him. And then, and this is again what I was thinking. Oh, he's got her to let her guard down. She forgets to lock her door. Now he's going to attack her after he pretended to be sweet. But yeah, so I think I would have probably stayed too if really there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the only bonus move would have been to send someone a photo of his ID. You know,
Yes.
that's when you let a friend know what's happening.
Totally.
Yeah. Or just even call someone and say,
Just
hey,
call-
this
yeah.
is happening. Like, check on me tomorrow.
Yep.
If you don't hear back from me, I'm going to have my phone with me. It's going to be charged. If you don't hear back from me at like 9:00 tomorrow morning, call the police.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So,
Which we find is really there. We find the police is really helpful in this town.
yes.
So
Yeah. Okay. So the next day she goes to her job interview. Everything goes well. She gets an ominous warning from the job interview person being like, you cannot stay where you're staying. Like, what are you thinking? Like,
she gets another warning too.
Well,
so,
right.
So it's from, there's this neighbor who is like, girl, get out of there. Like, you can't be there. But it seems like she's running away from the neighbor.
Because he's chasing her down the road.
I mean, he's kind of scary. He's
scary. Like
guy running down the street.
Because he doesn't actually tell her, get out of that house.
Or he's like, you can't be here or something.
Yeah, like get out of, he's like, get out of that house. But like, you can't, he doesn't, his delivery is off. Like,
I think he ends up being the true hero of the movie, which we'll talk about toward the end.
100%.
Yeah, his delivery was quite poor.
So at this point, she's getting freaked out. She knows she needs to leave. So she packs her shit up, like getting ready.
Can we talk about real quick the job interview?
Yeah.
You know, when she finds out the area that she's staying in, you know, I wrote down, I think it's like, girl, help her find another place.
Yes. I know, right?
You know, you don't know anyone who maybe has a spare room or like a hotel that usually has availability. Like she was kind of like, oh yeah, man, you shouldn't be there. That's really dangerous. But you know,
okay,
you know, I think the interview went pretty well. I'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, girl, help her.
Help a girl out.
Do you have a spare room? Like,
right. I know.
Anyway, sorry, we can get back into it. But like, I know after her warning, it was like, okay, yeah, if it's that bad, maybe you could
like help me. Yes.
Exactly. Because so as the girl, I forget if it was as she was leaving for the interview or coming home, but now that it's daylight, so her name is Tess.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy she's staying with is Keith. So Tess sees like, this is not, when we say a rough neighborhood, no,
we mean like as rough as you can
like
get.
It's bombed out.
It seems like it's been through war. Every house is unlivable. There's graffiti everywhere. There's just no house is actually a whole home with the exception of hers.
Yes.
Hers has totally been redone, but yeah, everywhere else, like it is absolutely shady.
Yeah.
So she, for some reason, still is at the house and has to pee, but there's no toilet paper. So she goes looking everywhere for toilet paper.
Which we can relate, right? Like that's annoying.
That's fair.
But this is when she goes down into the basement to get the toilet paper. And this is where I disagree with her decision-making skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I do understand she didn't mean to get locked in the basement. and she realizes she left her phone upstairs and she has the key. So Keith can't get in. So she's trapped in this basement and she discovers this rope pulley thing
in the wall.
Wild, which pulls open a hidden concrete door.
Yep.
So she's smart enough to kind of figure out, oh, there's a mirror in here. I'll angle the mirror up to the light so that it kind of creates a flashlight. Because again, she doesn't have a phone.
Here's the thing. Here's where I disagree. I would have done none of that. I would have shut the door.
Yes.
I would have reshut the door.
Yes.
Break the window.
Who knows what's back there and gone out the window.
Yes. Break the window.
Break it
at this point?
But I would have shut the door first. They just left it open the whole time. The time she goes back upstairs, she leaves it open the whole live long day. They leave this damn door open.
Although, how do you close the door?
You can probably push it. You can probably like push the opposite side of it, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely not. When it's like, no, don't go in there. You already see, my first thing was you already were locked in the basement, which to me, I thought it was a ghost. I thought it was haunted or something like that. I thought that's what was going on. So the door has already closed behind you. Yeah. Don't go into the second door.
No.
So, but curiosity gets the cat, and you're right. She does come up with a pretty ingenious way with the mirror and the light. That was very
goes
smart.
Through the tunnel.
She goes through because it's just this dark ass tunnel where you can see a door at the very end of it.
Yeah.
And then she goes in the door,
and there's a room.
Oh,
and in this room, there's a blood-soaked mattress on a twin bed, maybe.
Yeah.
A camera pointed at it, and a bloody handprint, and a bucket.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So she, at this point, I was already starting to get angry with some of the decisions made. She's like the classic, like horror,
I know,
woman. But eventually I'm going to get even more mad. And I start I actually screamed at the TV.
Yeah.
I was swearing at the TV. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, so she leaves after she sees that. And then
Keith gets there and they get the window open so he can pass the key and they get upstairs. Now here is where I thought something was wrong with Keith. And this is where I thought, oh shit, he's the owner, because the way he acted so dismissive of her fears and tried to get her to go back down to that basement. I was like, oh shit, he is the owner. That's his room down there. He's just trying to get her to stay. That's where I thought.
That's what I thought too.
There was something wrong with Keith.
See, I actually didn't think it was him, mainly because I think the moment I realized it wasn't Keith was after the first night when everything is fine in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
To me, I kind of thought if something was going to happen, it was going to happen the first night. If it was him,
right,
was my thought.
He just acted so sus.
Yeah, he was a little. Yeah,
I'm too skeptical. I thought, you know what? He kind of wore her down. And now that she trusts him, he had to prove his worth by opening the bottle of wine in front of her. Now that she trusts him, now tonight he's going to drug her, which poses my next question. When you have then left the Airbnb, you see the extent of this dilapidated place, neighborhood, I guess. Would you have gone back to stay the second night?
I mean, no, I would have done what she did, which was get your stuff.
Yeah, I don't think she was going to stay. Okay, I don't think she was going to stay.
Maybe not.
So I would have left, but here's my thing. Keith wanted to go check it out. I don't know this man. I would have been like, okay, but I'm out, and I would have left. I would have been like, you are an autonomous grown adult. If you need to go down there, make sure you don't get locked in the basement. Prop the door open.
Take your phone.
Given him that advice. I would have been like, take your phone, but I'm out of here.
Honestly, at that point, I did get mad at Tess because on the one hand, I get, again, the curiosity of him being like, I don't know why you're freaking out. You aren't making any sense.
Right.
I want to go see what's going on.
I'd be like, cool.
That's fine. You know, good
Go
for
ahead.
you. Go check it out. I would have left.
Right.
So Keith goes downstairs to check it out and she hears nothing from him. So she starts calling. It's been a few minutes and there's no Keith. So she goes down there and Keith isn't in there. And so she goes back into the room, the rapey room.
Yeah.
And Keith is not there. And so she like notices that the back of the tunnel is like a fake back and it actually is a door. She opens the door to the most horrifying set in the universe. Whoever created the set design of this should win awards.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's just this dark, dank staircase.
I thought it was a hole.
It
When
looks
they
like
first
a hole.
noticed it, I honestly thought it was a hole and Keith had fallen into it.
And so she's screaming for Keith and you can faintly hear him. At this point, we should point out she tried to call 911 and this is actually a pretty remember earlier when the guy chased her? This is actually pretty accurate for 911 to be like, yeah, we're not going to that neighborhood. Like we're not. We're done.
Yeah, they were basically like, we aren't sending anyone. We can't.
So I understand why maybe she didn't. But at this point, I would not. There is nothing that could have happened for me to go down those stairs.
No, I wrote down this.
I would have.
Like, that's what I wrote in my notes. I was like, I don't know him well enough to save him. Sorry, not sorry. Like, I don't know you well enough. I will try to call the police one more time and just report what's going on.
I would have gone in my car and gone to a police station.
Yeah.
And been like, I have a really crazy story, but here's my identification. I have everything I need to tell you. Here's what happened. Please go check this out. That's what I would have done.
She's going down there she's got, and I'm not really a gun person, but at this point, like, if I had a gun, maybe I would go down. But I'm not going down with like just my cell phone with no sort of a weapon or anything. I'm just not going to do it.
Also, at this point, I was very mad at Keith too, because, you know, obviously we find out that he is in fact not the bad guy.
Right.
But if you know that there's something down there, why would you scream for someone to come help you? Like, I'm sorry, be a good person and scream, run, and scream, don't come down here. There's something evil. Like,
it's too late for me. I'm not gonna like drag someone else. Like, what's she gonna do? Stop this thing? Like,
right?
I'm very happy you brought this up because after we finish talking about the movie, we're going to be talking about the psychology of helping. That's what we're going to be talking about. So you're absolutely right.
Okay. So at this point, she goes down the stairs.
Despite all of our warnings,
she runs into Keith.
I was yelling at the screen, guys.
Yeah.
She runs into Keith after going down this narrow, dank hallway. And then she sees these like crates in one little cubby. Like, so it's very creepy. She finally runs into Keith and Keith is like,
oh, I screamed when he popped out.
There is something down here. We've got to go.
He's crawling.
Yeah, he's crawling, but he's like, we can't go back the way we came. She's that way. We got to go this way. And Tess is like, no, the exit is this way. We got to go back the way we came. And so they're like arguing.
And he says, something bit me.
Yeah, something bit me. We can't go back that way. We got to go this way.
Yeah.
Like, and that's when this thing.
I screamed
and it all
and
happens.
swore.
So this part happens so fast. So it's this giant, I guess you can call her a woman.
Yeah.
This naked woman.
This naked, giant, tall woman with like a fucked up face. Her hair's scraggly, her teeth are messed up.
Her nails are
yeah, the whole thing. And she just starts screaming, grabs Keith and just smashes his head so repetitively and hard that his whole skull just turns to soup.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the end.
And then we just get
Act 1.
boom, fade to black.
And then we open to Justin Long on a beach.
So pre Justin Long, and before we get into that, did you guys have any thoughts on where the movie was going to go next? Because it definitely, I thought it was going to be zombies, at this point. I thought it was going to be a zombie movie.
I thought it was going to be that there was like a colony of people down there.
Yes.
Like I thought it was going to be that there was like this whole, because we saw a movie once, which maybe you guys can help me.
Oh, yeah.
We saw a movie where there was like
a colony of people.
This cave.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like the Appalachian woods, and there were these like,
oh my God, the cave.
There were these people that lived like the olden days. They lived off the grid, but to the extreme. They lived and then in the cave.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And they're going through it, and there's all these horrible things in the cave.
Yes. Like horrible, like human cannibalism. And
was it American Horror Story?
No.
It was a movie.
No, and wasn't it a remake of an older movie, but with like a different take?
Yes, it was. That was totally different. It had something to do with like Get Out. It wasn't Get Out, but it was like,
no, it did have something to do with it though.
It was like the title was like that. It was like Runaway or
Don't you love how like this has got to be so interesting for people to listen to us just being like, was it this? No, it wasn't.
No, I'm hoping that one of our listeners is like, holy shit, it's this.
And they're going to be yelling
at us.
Oh my God.
Is it Wrong Turn?
Yes, that's it.
Yes, that's what it is.
It, right?
That's 100% it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So sorry that we just gave some shit away, but listeners, if you haven't seen Wrong Turn,
it's a good movie.
Yet, it is a good.
We might need to do that.
For sure.
I'll rewatch it.
We should do it like
edit all this out.
Yeah.
Well, we should do it just in a while from now so that people have forgotten.
Yes.
Okay.
Like we did, clearly.
Sure. Yeah. But anyway, I definitely thought we were going to go somewhere completely different that Fade to Black.
Then when they opened to Justin Long, both my friend and I turned to each other and we were like, how the fuck are they going to get out of this hole? Like, what are they? What's about to happen?
Yes. I have to say, I love, because this happens two times in the movie where it's really dark and kind of just foreboding and hopeless. And then all of a sudden it's just this bright, sunshiny scene.
Oh, yes.
Which I kind of love. So Justin Long's just like in his convertible singing this ridiculous song, driving along like the ocean.
Yeah. The like Ricky Ticky song.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. And it's like a kind of a long scene. Like he's singing along for, I didn't time it, but it was probably like 30 seconds.
Oh, it was a long time.
In the convertible singing along.
I want to learn that song now.
So then it turns into him getting a call from his agents. He's being outed because he has sexual assault charges coming against him from a co-star. Very like timely storyline. Like when this came on, I was like, this is very timely.
Yep.
So, but all I'm thinking the whole time is like, where are they going with it? What's happening?
The whole time I was like, okay, but like what's down there though?
Same. Yes. Because I could tell clearly this was like California coast. Like there's no way. How does this relate to? So, I guess we should have said that this is in Michigan, Detroit. So Detroit has been through the ringer with, it used to be prosperous. It was, all this auto manufacturing, and now it's kind of a shithole.
Right.
Well, not a shithole, but parts of it can be.
Parts of it can be.
The economy is wrecked there.
The neighborhood, and I'm spacing on the name because they said what neighborhood they were in. That's a real neighborhood.
Yeah, Brightmoor,
Detroit. Yeah. So the neighborhood, like where the house is, and then the houses, I say in quotes next to it, that was all built. They actually filmed this in Bulgaria, of all places.
Okay,
so
that's
they
fun.
built that set, like that wasn't filmed in Detroit, but the scenes where they're not in the house, so when Tess is running away, all of those scenes where it takes place somewhere else, those were actually filmed in Detroit.
Cool.
So that actually looks like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That area actually is
No, it does.
unfortunately very, very run down and does just look like that.
So because he's being accused of rape, he gets fired from his job. He's going to pay all of these lawyer fees. So in essence, I'm trying to not say basically, essentially he is trying to liquidate. So he is going to try to go, and it turns out he's got some Michigan properties.
Because I think it seems like he's from there. Right.
Yeah. So he's originally from there. He's bought some properties, trying to like flip them, rent them out as Airbnbs, make some money. So he's going to go home and try to liquidate so he can afford all of his lawyer fees.
Yes.
So we
get the connection. We get the connection. He's the homeowner.
He is the homeowner. So he goes back there to see what's going on and enters, and all of their stuff, like Tess and Keith, all of their stuff is still there.
Right.
Yeah.
So he calls his like rental company to be like, what the hell is going on?
And it's been a couple weeks since the last
it's been weeks since it, the last time. And so like he gets frustrated with them. So he goes out to the bar, gets drunk, and comes back to the house.
Oh, quick fun fact. His friend, like that he meets at the bar, where he basically confesses to raping his coworker.
Yeah.
The guy who plays his friend, that's the director.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. I like when directors do that.
Yeah. Because he's an actor too. This is his first movie.
Shit. Well done.
Dude. So yeah, absolutely crushed it.
Well done.
So then he passes out. The next day he wakes up and he decides to go investigate. Like, because
I think
the door has been open.
Yeah, like he went down there to get like square footage because he's trying to figure out how much money he can get, and the door is still open.
He heard something because remember he thinks he has oh my gosh, what's the squatters? He thinks he has squatters, so he hears noises, and that's when because he goes and grabs a knife.
Yes,
so he has like
and a tape measure
and a tape measure to help him.
Yep.
And I have to say, so he goes down to the basement, he discovers kind of the hallway, and I love how just self-centered this dude is, where his first thought is not, I'm concerned for my safety, I'm concerned for the safety of, no, it's not that. It's like, how much can I sell this for?
Right.
And so he's like, ooh, this is so exciting. I can like count more square footage in my home.
No, he's loving every minute of it.
He Googles it.
Yeah.
Like, does unfinished basement space count as square footage?
I do have to say though, once he was doing that, I was like, ooh, you know what? That creepy hallway and rooms would have made great wine cellar.
100%. And I had the same thought.
Yes. I was like, oh, I would totally make that into a wine cellar.
100%. Okay. I will say, I loved that scene because this movie does have a lot of comedy.
It does.
Like they have a lot of funny moments. I died watching him move the bed in the room in order to take proper measurements of his extra space. Like he's completely unfazed by the horrors of what's happening. And then when he finds the second door and he's like, oh my God, this is great. He like sets up the tape measure to measure all of the space. That is such a fun way to get people to go into the scary basement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just completely doesn't acknowledge the, major red flags.
Right.
It's so good. I thought that was such a funny scene.
No, I agree. And so, he also notices the door, the faulty, like fake door at the back of the thing and the staircase. And he's like, I don't remember what he says, but he's so pumped. Something about like how pumped he is.
Yep.
So he's like, he starts the tape measure over again to like go down the stairs and measure. Yes. And he's just in this creepy ass, like horrifying, terrifying black hole of a place, just with his little tape measure.
Yep.
Until he runs into the room, which, okay, had we seen the room before? I don't remember.
No, we hadn't seen the room before. It's almost like a purple light coming from this other room. So it's not the room with the bed and the bucket.
No, this is the one down the second set
down
of
the
stairs.
second kind of level. And it's kind of got this glowing purple and like light, and you hear this voice, and it's kind of this soothing.
Yeah, it's just a soothing, like meditative voice. And there's a bunch of blankets on the floor, and there's a bed, and there's a video of a mother breastfeeding her child.
And it's talking about, how to connect with your baby and nurse with your baby.
The beauty of breastfeeding.
Right. Which is normally not a creepy
but
thing.
In this setting,
feels creepy.
When they showed that, I my reaction was nope. I know where they're going. I don't want to see it. I don't want to experience it. I don't like that they're doing it.
Horrifying.
Yes.
So then you go from this scene of AJ kind of running away after he sees the nursing video, seems super dark, super like foreboding. And then it cuts to this bright, sunny scene.
Yep.
Of a man like coming out of this like beautiful home and this like.
I at least knew it was this house. Yeah. Like I could tell that it was this particular house.
But you can tell it was, back in the past when, the lawns were nice. All the houses around it were nice. I initially thought this was a scene from like the 60s because of how it felt. But on the radio, they mentioned that Reagan was taking office. So that's 1981.
So 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we see this guy. We're like in this is like another act. This is like the third act. And
it's like a flashback kind of scene.
Yeah. And he goes to the store. He's going to have a baby at home. So he wants a home birth. He's buying supplies for it.
Plastic sheets.
What plastic sheets?
I mean, you got to cover the mattress somehow.
But wait, what other purpose would there be for plastic sheets?
I think it's actually
for home birth. I mean, yeah.
No,
I was thinking he was buying it for murders.
Oh, no, I think he's buying it for a home birth.
Oh, see, I thought he was still buying it for not birth, but using it as an excuse. But I totally believe that you would need plastic sheets for
see,
a home
I got
birth.
the feeling he's actually buying it for a home birth. Like, because we do find out he was.
I mean, yeah, it's true.
But maybe also murder.
Right. I mean,
it's a multi-use
based
product.
off the mattress that he had in that room, though, he wasn't covering his mattress.
It can only do so much if you like cut holes in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
then he leaves the store.
He gets the video.
Oh yeah, he buys the breastfeeding video. He sees this pretty lady and he follows her to her house, and he's basically pretending he might actually do this for work. I don't know, but
I don't think
he's like a water meter guy, and he's testing her water, but he does it to get into her house to unlock her window. So we're like, oh, okay, he's gonna abduct her later. Like you very obviously know what's going on. So then cut back. That's it, right?
That's kind of it.
That's it.
We find out that the neighborhood is going to shit.
Oh yeah, because the guy is like, one of his neighbors is like, hey, we're getting out before it totally busts. So then it cuts back to the basement, and this is where
AJ.
What's the guy? AJ?
AJ.
Yep.
AJ finally runs into the woman, and she like drags.
I think we should call her mom.
To mommy. Mama. Yeah, mama.
I like mommy.
And we all have our affinity that
we all have our preferences,
and drags him into a hole. And see that Tess is down there. Yeah. And she's
shocked she was alive.
She's shocked. She does not look well.
No,
but she is alive. And she's trying to be like, you have got to like STF you, and you're going to freak her out. Just do what she says. She just wants you to be her baby. Like,
because that's where she tries to bottle feed them.
And she drops this giant bottle into the cave that they're down in, and they have to like suckle the milk. There's like, it's disgusting.
It's amazing.
I was physically trying to distance myself.
And that's when I got the
TV.
idea for our cocktail.
I'm just going to take a big drink of my white
of your mama's milk.
Oh my God. Okay. I did have a fun fact, which is going to make this like so much more disgusting.
Oh God.
Someone in an interview with the director asked what was in the bottle, like where was the milk supposed to come from? And he said that there was a scene that was cut from the movie, and honestly it's probably good that they did, where there were supposed to be a lot of rats in this dungeon.
Okay.
So they were like milking the rats, and that's where the milk was supposed to be coming from.
How many rats would you have to milk?
What?
Oh God!
On
I
set, they
just
used oat
assumed it
milk,
was hers.
right?
I just thought
I assumed it was
her
like
milk.
formula.
Oh no, I
I-
thought it was her milk.
I thought it was hers too,
No, but
which
she's
is disgusting.
old and
Yeah, but I
Oh,
think
she
she
milk.
probably had a baby.
well,
Mhm.
yeah, I think so
Mhm.
too, and we'll kind of talk about that later. but-
Yeah, I thought it was hers, but yeah, he was gonna make it even more disturbing.
Oh,
okay.
I'm really happy they cut that out. I think that would have been too much.
Oh, I wish they would have kept it in.
okay. So now what?
So-
So now
she-
she grabs him.
Yeah, because AJ's not
AJ
drinking
out
from
'cause
his
she's-
bottle.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
So mommy
Mhm.
grabs AJ
Yeah.
Mhm.
and is
And-
like, "Yeah, you're being a bad baby," and she's
And
trying to
takes
basically
him.
she's trying to force breastfeed him.
And then
Yep.
she goes and breastfeeds him in the other room.
Mhm.
So
And at this point, Tess escapes.
yeah,
Yes.
she has an opportunity. So
So she
leaves.
takes it and she runs and she gets out.
Mhm.
And then again, the true hero
The
of the story, I forget his name.
I don't know if we
what
know
was
his
that
name,
dude?
I don't know if we got it. Here, let's see.
but it's the neighbor. Yeah, I don't know that
I mean,
we
he's
know
the-
his name.
And he's the only one to make sense in this because he tells her
Mhm.
she runs into him when she leaves, and he's like, "Look," because it's daytime, and he's like, "Look, you got to get out of here." And she goes, "No, there's someone trapped in there. We got to go back." He's like, "You have to worry about you. Do not go back in there. Like you
Mhm.
got to do what's right for yourself." That's the only guy that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so
And we find out that she comes out at night.
yes, and he says she comes out at night. So if you're gonna stay, he's like, if you're gonna stay, whatever, she comes out at
Mhm.
night. Be gone before it's dark.
Yep.
Yep.
And she does not listen.
No.
Well, so then she tries to go to the cops, and this is kind of what we were
Yeah.
alluding
Again,
to
right.
earlier.
She tries to
Mhm.
go to the cops and they're not giving no shits.
They
don't
consider her just a crackhead.
because she
Yeah.
kind of looks disheveled and not
Oh, she
okay.
does.
And
She
she's
looks
kind of
homeless.
talking, just nonsense to them. And
to be honest, they probably see this is a dime a dozen situation. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
they leave
Yeah.
her at the house and
Yeah.
she's forced to decide what to do, right? And
Mhm.
so she goes back into the house.
Of
Oh,
course she does.
biggest mistake ever. And it's
Of course
approaching
she
night
does.
at this
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
So I don't remember how it gets to this next scene, but the next thing I remember is that Tess is out of the house and the woman is chasing her.
Oh, because she goes to get the keys.
Her car keys.
Oh,
She
that's
goes
right.
to
She
get her
goes to
car
the-
keys. So
Yeah.
then she's in the car, but now the woman has come out of the window.
Mom.
Mom
Mommy.
has come out. Mommy.
Mom's come out at night.
And fuck yes, Tess runs that bitch over. She
Mhm.
pins her between the car and the house. I was
Mhm.
so excited. At
I
this
know.
point.
See, now, did either of you think she was actually dead?
No,
though?
of course she's not
Right.
dead.
Absolutely not.
Of course she wasn't. Come on, you
Tess
check a
does-
pulse.
No, Tess decides to run back into the house to go get AJ.
Yes.
Because her car won't start. So
Right.
she does try to reverse the car, but then her
Yeah,
car won't start.
yeah.
So then she goes back.
So she goes to go get, and she does. She gets him.
Yeah,
And
but
they
remember, this is when AJ has his own separate adventure.
Mhm.
Oh shit! Yes.
Mhm.
Remind
so
us.
AJ goes. So while this is happening, so we know Mom is out. AJ is free to roam a little bit. So he goes further down the tunnel. And that's when he finds another room. And literally in my notes, I was like, another door. Yeah.
It must be
How
under
big
like
is
the
this?
entire neighborhood.
So he goes down or goes into this other door, and that's where we see Frank, the
Daddy.
guy from the flashback.
Mhm.
Yes, we can assume Daddy. And oh my God, that room.
It was.
I mean,
it was like a hoarder's dream.
So disgusting. Like
Mhm.
just
Just
horrifying.
trash everywhere. And then he finds his collection of VHS tapes.
And that's where we
there's
enough
discover
films.
what had happened in that room with the video
mean,
recorder.
Yeah, and there's hundreds. I mean, you're supposed to, I think, learn like this guy
It's been happening for a
Mhm.
very long
for
time.
forever.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then I think after hearing that AJ said like, oh, this place is going to be swarming with cops. Like, we're going to go get help. That's when Frank apparently has a gun and shoots himself.
Yes. Oh, because AJ, the guy basically tried to get AJ to watch one of the videos. So AJ turns on one of the videos and is like, holy shit, it's this guy. What the hell is wrong with you? Like, you're disgusting. You're evil. Like, and that's when the guy gets his own gun, daddy, and shoots himself.
Yeah. Now, see, do you think he shot himself because he called him all of those things? I thought he shot himself because he was like, I'm literally going to go get the police before this. And I thought he was like, oh, I'm caught.
I think so. I think he was like, I'm not getting caught. I'm going to die. Like, I'm already basically dead. Like,
he's the
based off his physical appearance, like he's already gone. So for sure that's why. No, it had nothing to do with remorse.
No. Yeah, but then AJ does get a little moment, of hopefully self-reflection, we think, but we can talk more about that later.
Right.
So anyway, now we're at the point where
so AJ grabs the gun.
Yeah. AJ grabs the gun and is running out. He's like, okay,
AJ's running out.
I have a gun and I'm leaving.
Tess running in
to save AJ.
They meet, but it's dark and AJ shoots her. Which I don't blame that happened because he had no idea it was her. Like,
no, on the one hand, I was like, I totally get why this would have happened. But on the other hand, I was like, of course, this guy would accidentally shoot someone.
Right. Tensions are high. He sees someone coming out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Right.
Who she was coming to help him, and then he shoots her. But then it turns out that she was not, dead.
Yeah.
Right. To check her. And he carries her out. He carries her out.
They get carried out. They realize the car won't work. That's when they run into the neighborhood guy again.
His name is Andre. I wrote down. Andre is the true hero.
Okay, so they run into Andre again, and he brings them to his little home.
Okay, and before this, there was a line which I love, which I think was just going to show, AJ as a character versus Tess, because he has a car. There's a second car at the house.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, let's take your car. And he's like, oh, no, the keys are in there. I'm not going back in there.
And she can't because she's shot.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is a real
piece of work.
There are two types of helpers. He is one. She is the other.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that. But yeah, then we get Andre, the helpful neighbor who takes them to a safe space.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last long because Mommy tears through the wall.
She tears through the wall.
Freaking badass.
And how strong is this woman?
And just tears off his arm.
She just rips his arm right off.
Beats him with his own arm.
Right off.
Oh, okay, tell me you didn't see that coming when they were like, oh, how do you know that this is safe? And he's like, oh, well, she hasn't been here yet. I was like, oh, she coming.
I was like, oh, wait for the countdown any second now. And it was seconds.
Yeah,
absolutely. She was.
So now AJ and Tess are on the run again. They run. It's a water tower that on.
Yeah.
They run upwards of the water tower. And then AJ drops his gun.
Like an asshole is what I wrote down in my notes. He drops his gun
on her way.
Yeah.
Up to the water tower. So this is when we see yet again the real character of AJ. And he's like, I can make it. If you can slow her down, like, I'm good. So he grabs her by the top of the head, by her hair, and just flings her. Yes, Tess, sorry. Flings her off of the water tower and tells Mommy to go get your baby.
And Mommy does. Mommy goes to save her baby.
That scene of Mommy just flying
with her boobs just flailing about,
yeets her off the water tower. Oh no,
wild. Yeah,
but yeah, Mom goes after her.
Yeah,
like a good mom.
Because Tess was a good baby. AJ was never a good baby. Like, Tess let Mommy feed her. She snuggled against her bosom.
Yeah.
AJ didn't do any of that. He was a bad baby.
So we then he looks over and we see that Mom is below Tess. So Tess has been protected, but we don't know if either are alive because we see a big blood pool. So he like quickly goes down there, and that's when he realizes Tess is still alive, and he starts like justifying his actions. He's like, "You slipped from my grasp. You know,
were already sleeping already."
Right? He was gaslighting. At
100%
gaslighting.
Yeah.
But that's when we quickly realize that they're both still alive, including mom and baby.
And mom is not happy.
Mom is not happy. So she just jumps up. This part is horrifying.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So she like grabs AJ and is like choking him at first, but then gets her gnarly hands with her like long ass fingernails.
I could not handle it.
And just pushes it into his eyeballs. And the shit that comes out of his eyeballs, you guys, was horrifying.
Yeah. That was so rough.
So he's dead. He's dead. Yeah. But then she tries to go back to her baby to be like, oh, my baby's hurt. And she can't really talk. Right? Like
she's like,
tell me you weren't sad.
I was sad for mommy.
So sad.
She's like, again, like they can't talk, but like the mom's clearly like, hey, let's go back home.
Yeah, she's basically like, let's go home.
Let's go.
Like,
and Tess is like, I can't go back.
I can't go back. And that's when Tess grabs for the gun that's laying on the ground and just shoots the shit out of mom.
She shoots mommy.
Yeah.
I mean, she had to. I would have done it.
She had to.
And then it cuts to the Dirty Dancing song of Be My Little Baby. And I was wrecked.
Be my little baby.
Yeah. And we see Tess limping away.
In the movie.
Oh my God. This movie was such a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. So I feel like we should go into the psychology now.
Oh, yes.
I think we're ready.
Let's do it.
I'm sure there's a lot.
So remember, she's not a real doctor, but that's okay because these aren't real people. So take all of these observations and diagnoses with a pound of salt.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's dive in.
So first of all, let's talk about what is a barbarian. I had to look up the definition because I thought, well, I've heard that term, right? But what would you guys say is a barbarian based off of just how people use it?
I mean, I'm assuming it's a group of people.
Yeah.
From a certain time. What year was it? 400 something years ago?
Yeah.
Right?
Just very animal instincts.
Yeah. Yeah, so really it's just a person from an alien land, so like not your home soil, or culture or group that's believed to be inferior, uncivilized, or violent.
Oh.
Which I guess
really?
We could kind of say is what mommy and daddy were, in that they were.
Well, at least he was.
He was 100%.
Maybe. He was.
But
he was for sure the barbarian.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like they maybe acted like what you would think a barbarian is, but I think that there's reasons behind it.
Well, not for him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
I mean, there are bad reasons.
Bad reasons, absolutely. So let's talk about mommy first.
Okay.
This is not something that you would initially go to think of, but the first thing I thought about was, okay, maybe she's not a barbarian. Maybe she has a vitamin D deficiency.
Oh,
one hell of a vitamin
light of day.
Deficiency.
Yeah. I think that's a given.
Right? She's living in an underground world. She never gets out. She's only ever in the dark. And here's what vitamin D deficiency can produce. It's symptoms similar to depression, including mood changes, accompanied by feelings in overwhelming hopelessness, sadness, hopelessness, fatigue, which I don't really think we saw much of that.
Yeah.
Forgetfulness. I don't know about that. One of the things that it says though is like loss of appetite, excessive weight loss or gain. I don't think we see much of that.
Do we see her eat?
We don't really know, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Loss of interest in activities that you used to like.
I mean, she likes to breastfeed.
She does.
Right?
She didn't lose interest in that.
So I think that there could be some of that. I think maybe she actually shows a bit more like opposite of vitamin D deficiency, and that, you know, it's not that she like has trouble or lack of motivation. She's like really motivated by her babies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is just a good reminder, you know, someone who lives in the Pacific Northwest, we all have a vitamin D deficiency.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Most people do.
Talk to your doctor, take your vitamins. I have a vitamin D deficiency.
Everybody
have to take it
vitamin
every
D.
day.
Take vitamin D. I started taking it when I got COVID because I heard it was really good when you had it, and I've taken it every day since.
Honestly, it does help.
Yeah.
Like, shockingly. Anyway, this isn't medical advice, but
Yeah, we are not doctors.
We are not
as we've
doctors.
said before, but it did help me as well.
So one of the things I want to talk about is in previous episode, we have talked about attachment and attachment theory and babies getting attached to their moms. But let's talk about kind of the flip side of that, which is the psychology term known as bonding. So attachment is what the kid does to the mom, right? The kid has to attach to the mom. That's that psychological process of where they bond with the mom. They love the mom. Bonding is what the mom does to the kid.
Oh, okay.
So bonding is an emotional connection from the mom to their kid or dad to their kid. And it's really important for the mom to want to take care of the kid. It's kind of like the survival. I bond with this baby who's going to be really annoying for a long time. It's going to cry. It's going to be needy. It's going to want this food, but I've bonded. I love this baby. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to help them survive. So I think really mommy is suffering from this lack of being able to bond to a baby. Because I think maybe what has happened is I think possibly mommy has been a result of like mommy is maybe a baby of several captives from dad.
Right.
Yeah.
But then mommy has probably also had several babies.
Yeah. So we get the story from Andre that this has been happening way before we saw, like in the 80s. This has been happening a long time. And like it's babies having babies. Yeah. So like his children, he then makes children with his children. So like we're supposed to know that the mommy that we met is probably very inbred.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably then gave birth to inbred babies.
Yeah.
And my thought is if you are yourself a product of incest, of inbreeding, and then you also are having babies, probably this dude was a total dick, totally abusive. I mean, obviously he was.
Oh, because we should say like the scene where AJ goes to get in this room, like mommy is chasing him, but stops chasing him when he gets to that door and is like, oh, yeah, no, I don't go to that door. Like she's afraid of.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, clearly he is fine to live there without the threat of mom. So we know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so my thought is that she has probably not been able to connect much to her own mother, but even more so what I think we're seeing the results of in this movie is that she has probably had many babies who've been a incest upon incest, so that there's maybe been some struggles with them in their survivability and that they have passed away and she or they've been taken away from her to be abused on their own. So she's had these babies but not been able to have these connections with them,
like not keep the babies,
right? Or maybe even like one of the things that can be really big for bonding is this physical connection with which people can thrive and survive without this physical connection with their birth mom. So I'm not saying that, but if it's been this repeated thing where she wants this physical connection with her baby and her baby's been kind of ripped from her, she doesn't get this contact with them. She's wanting that connection. She's wanting to be able to,
for sure,
sustain her baby and, breastfeed her baby to help them live and love.
She's just been watching this video on repeat.
Yeah, I was gonna say the video. It sounds like that's the only exposure to anything other than that dungeon.
Absolutely.
Was just her watching this video on repeat.
Yep.
So because we were kind of talking about incest and inbreeding, this is a kind of touchy subject. Dang, I looked up how to say this word. I'm going to butcher it.
it's not our specialty.
Incest or inbreeding, it results in homozygosity. It's kind of like it's like your genes are the same.
Oh, okay.
But homozygosity, I don't know how to say it.
We're not biologists.
Yeah,
but
we're not doctors.
We're not doctors here. Come on, I quit that shit.
We're not linguists.
Yeah.
We're not linguinists.
But that can lead to an increased chance of offspring being affected by recessive traits. So that can also, reduce genetic diversity. And so one of the things that is a common misconception is like, if there's inbreeding, if, cousins, moms and kids, dads and kids, have offspring that like, they're going to be, they're going to have deformities or mental illnesses, or that it actually is not as common as you would think. It's pretty taboo in most cultures, but it can lead to some really serious problems. Because if you have all these recessive traits, but that you're kind of keeping those same genes going, it's going to make them come out instead of being recessed.
Yeah. And I think we're supposed to assume this is like probably generations.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's genetic disorders, reduced fertility. So like she might be like getting pregnant, but not having her babies.
Right.
Your facial symmetry can kind of be all messed up, which I think we definitely see in mommy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Birth rates are low. Infant mortality is low. So again, that's why I think like she's having these babies, but she's been told you need to bond with them, but she can't bond with them.
Right.
They die or are taken away. It also though says slower growth rate and smaller size, which mommy does not fit that mold. Because
she's
if mommy
thin
was also,
but tall.
like if she was a product of incest as well as then not participated. She did not willingly participate. But like if she then herself had babies, like, but she's real big. So she's not a small adult. Yeah. So I think that's kind of something affecting her is this incest and inbreeding.
Interesting.
And I want to talk about, I found this abnormal behavior textbook from my old psychology days. And it talks about incest, and it talks about incest fathers. So keep in mind, this book is from 2005. So it's a little bit old.
Okay.
Not that old.
It's not that old.
Right. Some of the concepts of it, I think, are still probably true. And it talks about how when you think about incest, especially in this movie, it's like the dad and his kids, right? Most incest is actually brothers and sisters.
Right.
That's more common.
Yeah.
But when it relates to incestuous fathers, statistically, they have a lower IQ than non-incestuous fathers. And that there are 3 types of incestuous fathers. So I'm going to talk about all of them, and you can tell me about which one you think that daddy was.
Okay.
The first type is socially isolated. So he's highly dependent on his family for his interpersonal relationships. And then his emotional dependency evolves into a sexual dependency with his daughter.
Okay.
So that's the first type. The second type has a psychopathic personality. And so he's pretty much just indiscriminate in sexual partners that he chooses. It's like whoever it is, like I'll have sex with them.
Okay.
That's the second type of incestuous dad. The third type has pedophilic tendencies and is sexually involved with children, no matter what. But then it's also going to include his daughter. So
I think he's the second and the third.
Ooh, okay.
See, but I almost feel like he's all of them, because like I guess with the first one, it's like he clearly does a lot of it in isolation in the dungeon, but he goes out into the world and is kidnapping women, so he's not completely isolated.
Yeah,
I think he's the last two,
second, third, maybe. Yeah,
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I can agree with that. And in general, incestuous dads, the dad will be violent, and then the mom will be powerless, which I think we can definitely see in Mommy, because not only is she his daughter, we think, but she's also the mom.
Right.
Yeah.
She's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then incestuous fathers tend to have difficulties in empathy, nurturing behavior, caretaking, social skills, and masculine identification.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
fascinating.
Incestuous fathers.
Okay.
Yeah. The more you know.
The next thing I wanted to talk about was helping.
Yes.
We talked about that a lot.
Yes.
with helping. So why do we help other people? Any thoughts on why we help other people?
I think just like human nature.
Yeah, empathy.
Like it's just this like drive within us to help other people.
I think it is, but from a behavioralist perspective, it's rewarding. Like it feels good, and most likely we help people when we get something out of it.
Fair.
So usually when we're going to help someone, we do this cost benefit analysis of like, okay, I'm going to help you, but is what I'm going to put into it going to be worth what I get out of it?
Yeah. That's
not necessarily saying like we won't help people if it's like for the good of humanity. There's two types of way we can help people. So there's the altruistic way of helping people, or the egocentric way of helping people. Either way, it's going to lead to we do it for human nature, but there's kind of a difference of why we do it.
Yeah.
So,
you got your
look at this like textbook I'm reading from, guys. And this
oh my God, I love it.
Look at that nice group on the beach.
All right. So, if we perceive that someone needs help, there's two types of reasons why we're going to help them. Can we see the other person's perspective? So let's talk about AJ versus Tess, because there's the situations where Tess helps AJ and the situations where AJ helps Tess on a couple of times. So can they take the other person's perspective? So for Tess, I feel like she can take AJ's perspective. She's like, he's trapped in there. He wants to get out. I got to go help him. That's why I'm going to go help him.
Tess will help anyone. Yeah.
Totally.
Now, there is a time when it almost seems a little altruistic when AJ helps Tess, because after he shot her, he helps her out of the house.
Right.
But
it almost felt like he did that because he had to.
Right?
Yeah.
To cover his own ass.
Because what had just happened with the rape, I don't want to say allegation. I want to say like enlightenment, like
accusation. I mean,
but it wasn't even like he did it, right?
Yeah.
So like the fact that she called that to light,
so
she brought
the
that
rape
out.
charges.
Yeah, the charges.
So, is it that he really wanted to help someone in need,
or he just wanted to help someone to prove to himself that he's not a piece of shit?
Yeah. I don't think he did it for any reason other than to benefit himself.
Agreed.
Because so then social psychologists would say, what was the emotional response when you're seeing someone in need? Is it that you empathize with that person, which is I think what Tess does, or is it that you're in personal distress? Like, oh my God, like I think AJ was like, if Tess dies, or if she lives and says I shot her, it's going to cause me problems.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about what is their motive for like the end result? Do they want to reduce the suffering of others, or do they want to reduce the suffering and consequences like to themselves?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think AJ and Tess just each represent the opposite.
Absolutely.
Totally. They do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, for sure, Tess is more representing that altruistic motive.
Yep.
Whereas AJ is the egocentric. And I think we see both of them have kind of a combination of some of them at some point in time. But if you get down to like the root of it, that's kind of what's going on.
Totally.
Yeah. If you throw someone off a water tower to help yourself, you might be a little focused on.
I'm going to go ahead and say that's not altruistic. Just my 2 cents.
I don't know if this really applies to this one, so we could maybe save it for another time, but we could just talk about it a little bit. Yeah. I felt like there was hesitation of Tess when mommy she had just saved Tess from dying by like putting her body in between Tess and the concrete. She was, babbling to Tess, saying, "Come home with me." And there was a hesitation in Tess on shooting.
Oh,
mommy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it gets a little bit to that Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes. Because she had been down there.
Fully.
She had been down there for weeks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like, we have to remember that. She wasn't just down there for a day.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I feel like, because I was sad for mom at the end. She definitely killed people, like she killed Keith and stuff.
Yeah.
So like that did happen. But ultimately, she is a victim.
Absolutely.
She's 100% a victim of the situation.
You can get.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah.
Did she have Stockholm Syndrome toward daddy? And then also did she then elicit Stockholm Syndrome from her victims?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Stockholm Syndrome, it's really a coping mechanism. So if you're held captive or in an abusive situation, you can develop these positive feelings toward your captors or abusers. So a little bit of history about that. It derived from a botched bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, which I did not know where Stockholm Syndrome came from.
I had no idea.
So it was in 1973. I think was it in No, sorry, I just said Sweden. There was a bank that was, robbed, and the people were held hostage for 6 days. And during the standoff between, the robbers and the police, there was this bond that was formed between the hostages and the captors, that like they really felt like they could trust the hostages felt like they could trust the captors. And I think then had kind of like a mistrust of the police because they had been with them and they developed this bond.
Yeah.
So
really fascinating.
Oh yeah.
Right?
No, it really is.
Like, and it happens when, so initially the captor is probably going to threaten the captive's life. And then, they're like, the captive is kind of seeing their, the bad guy, like deliberating and then choosing not to kill them. So it's like, instead of choosing not to murder me, it's like, I'm almost seeing you as you saved me.
Yeah.
From being killed. And then they have this relief that they are not dead and that the captor decided to save them. So then they have these intense feelings of gratitude.
Oh, interesting.
And so really it's all about survival at heart too, right? Like you're in a situation where if you don't develop some sort of bond or care for the person that, as far as that's the rest of your life. Like you're going to be miserable the rest of your life. So it's kind of about survival.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With this movie, it's like Tess figured it out. Mom wants a baby.
Right.
It's like
be a baby.
Just wants you to be her baby.
Yep.
Well, and also
Tess was doing it. She went along with it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're in complete dependence on that. So if you don't develop this bond with your captor, and it has to be at least genuine enough for the captor to believe it, like your life depends on them keeping you alive. So it's really about surviving.
Yeah.
But then it can kind of morph into that.
For sure.
So that's kind of the side that I thought of for
love this
movie.
Yeah. Okay. I did have one question for you. If you know, is that how mom would likely communicate if she hasn't spoken to any adult really her whole life? I'm going to go ahead and assume Frank wasn't very social or communicative. Like if someone just had never learned language, is that likely how they'd communicate? She just kind of does the like ba ba, like she does like the little sounds
stuff.
Like nonverbal stuff. Is that what would happen? Do you know? I didn't look it up.
It kind of comes with like theory. So social communication theory of like how language develops. Vygotsky's pretty big into that. But really, if you don't have, she does have the video of spoken English, but it's so limited.
Right.
And I don't think you could develop a language based off of that because it's only about certain things. And I actually think what mommy does is she picks up on certain things where like in the video, they say baby, and that's showing like a love relationship. She does say baba. Like she does get like baby means something. So yeah, absolutely. Like you're going to kind of develop your own language.
Yeah. It's just fascinating to me, like to think about it. Right. Like that's the thing about this movie is that like, even though on the surface, it's just like a good, creepy horror movie, like there's some good gore and some good jumps. Like when you really break it down and think of it, like it is so fascinating.
Oh yeah.
You could dive so hard into
so many layers. Yeah. So many layers.
But I think that's a really great question. You've only ever been around like, you know, maybe your mom who you weren't around much and talked to you like a baby. And then you're around a baby who just maybe babbles before it passes away or gets abused or whatever. So that's all you know. So that would be the extent of your language.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Now, do you guys think there's anything else in the dungeon basement
for
secret
sure
tunnels? Because we get the guy, Andre, right? Where I think because he sees that mom is chasing her. And that's when he says like, oh, she's not even the scariest thing down there.
Right. No, there's got to be more down there. I think there's more women.
Yeah.
There's more babies. There's more creatures for sure.
I thought he was just talking about daddy, but you're totally right.
No, I think there's totally
there have to be more.
Because like we only saw 2 rooms down there. I mean, 3 with the video one, but like 2 down in the dungeon. I think there's 100% more down there.
So oh my God, you're so right. You're
so good. Okay, are we ready for some fun facts?
Yes.
So ready.
Please.
Okay. I do think at this point, I think we've like shared a lot of them just like during the movie. So I'll see which ones we haven't talked about.
Do some wrap ups.
Okay. The director originally wanted a different actor to play AJ. He originally wanted Zac Efron, but Zac Efron turned it down.
I could actually see that, but I think Justin Long was perfect for that.
I think Justin Long was really good for it. Do you think it would have worked with Zac Efron? Because part of me thinks it wouldn't have worked as well.
I don't think he's as funny. Like, I don't think his physical comedy is as funny. Like, Justin Long has this way of delivering his lines that is so authentic.
Yeah.
I think Zac Efron would have missed that.
Right. No, I think AJ was better.
Zac Efron was.
What?
You are older than us.
What?
Grandma coming in here not knowing who Zac Efron is.
High School Musical.
A lot.
17 again.
I didn't watch that shit.
Yeah, she's too old for that noise.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh. Anyway, I don't think he would have been great for it.
No.
The reason for the name of the movie Barbarian is like the director was, as he was writing it, because they lived on, I think it was Barbary Street or Lane or whatever, like Barbie. He was like, so they're technically barbarians is like, he had written the story and he had to save the file. So he had to come up with a name to save it. And that's what he came up with.
You know what? I like the name though, because it works. It does like evoke curiosity for where it comes from.
Yeah, so. It's a good name. Like it makes you wonder what's going on with it.
Yeah. And there have been a bunch of theories on why people think it was called that. And, you know, people have come up with more creative reasons.
No, I love that his reason is just the name of the street.
Yeah. No, the director was like, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming up with all these reasons, but like, it was literally just that. I needed a file name and that's the first thing that came
I love that.
That's amazing. I love it.
I love.
Like how we come up with our titles.
Yes. It just happens. Okay. We need to save a file.
Yep.
Like Barbarian
Milk,
hard, maybe.
Oh,
this one.
Oh,
Milky Barbarian.
Oh no,
Barbarian Milk.
Like we can, but I hate it. He had a really hard time getting this movie made and out. Basically, no studio wanted it.
Really?
Mainly because like he broke pretty much every rule of storytelling. The studios were like, how dare you introduce a new character on page 50? You know, like so far into the movie, you would just completely change it. It was really hard. He was really hoping A24 would take it, which I think everyone knows because they do so much more, like, I'm not going to say elevated horror because that is a dumb word, but like artistic horror. But even they turned him down.
Damn.
Oh, no.
Yeah, eventually he got it. He got it though, so it was okay. I'm already forgetting who ended up distributing it. It's the same company that has like Disney. So Disney made the trailer. The director had no real. I mean, they offered to like have him help to make the trailer and stuff, but really they made it. So we can thank Disney for that incredible trailer.
Thank you, Disney.
Which honestly, I'm shocked they did that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While he wasn't credited in any of the credit, like the post credits and everything, Jordan Peele did give him a lot of recommendations.
I remember hearing that about this.
And I think you can get, while I was watching it, it reminded me of Jordan Peele. Like it had that effect of, you know, I don't know. He has an effect of like, what if we take this one step further kind of thing? And then what if we take this 20 steps further? And I think you could sense that style.
Yep. I totally could. Yep.
Yeah. The actor whose name I'm forgetting, who played the mom, the way that they did it is he was basically naked. And then
it was a guy?
Oh, it was a guy. Yes, so it was a guy.
Interesting.
He was basically naked, and then they like stuck a bunch of prosthetics on.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently it was really uncomfortable.
Her body in the movie was very masculine with
so it makes sense.
Right. But I don't know. That kind of makes me sad. I wish it was a woman.
I think it works better with him
because it makes it more awkward. Like it makes movement less feminine. Because I don't know. I like
something about it. I mean, I'm sure that a woman could have also played it, but I think he did a really good job with it. I feel like the way and the prosthetics looked really good. The director felt really strongly, which I think we all agree, just don't like CGI. He wanted everything to be as practical and like physical as possible.
Yeah.
So that's how we got Mom's Luck, a bunch of prosthetics. I'm sure everyone was regretting not taking this movie because it was made with the budget of like between $4.5 million, which is very low for a movie. And in theaters, it grossed $45 million.
Nice.
And then it went to streaming. So we don't even know how much money it made on top of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So haha, he made a lot of money.
Suck it. 24.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure he did already get approved for another movie. Like he already has another project in the works.
Yeah.
So people are realizing that, you know, he has some good ideas. Let's see. Oh, in testing, he realized, because there's the scene where Keith, played by oh my God, I literally just said his name, Bill Skarsgård. He says, he has the line, "What do I look like? A monster?" And in testing, because a bunch of people recognized him from it, everyone laughed.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Like, oh, well, yes.
Yeah, you do.
I love that.
You do,
he
Bill.
did not intentionally write it as a joke, but when people laughed, he kind of loved it.
Rolled with it.
Yeah. Let's see. Detroit actually has a bunch of underground tunnels.
Yeah, I knew that.
Some are like pedestrian crossings for like busy streets, but then they have a bunch of tunnels. Like there's one connecting like a hospital to transport patients. There's a bunch of underground tunnels in Detroit.
So sippers, spooky sippers, if you don't know, so Brianna, Yvette, and I have loved horror movies for a while. And one of our dreams, I think maybe after the first year of Spooky Sips, we'll do Spooky Sips on the road, or we'll come up with a better name.
It's the dream.
But we want to go and stay in haunted places. We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to go to Detroit, go to the underground places,
the tunnels, like a tour, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
for sure.
So I'm very excited about this information.
The director never watched Jeepers Creepers, which is the actor who plays AJ. Justin Long? That was kind of like his first like horror movie. And I don't think I've even told you guys this. That was one of my first horror movies.
I've never seen it.
What? Oh, okay.
I saw it, but I don't remember it.
Okay, I think we have to do it. I went and found, oh my God, I forget if it was a yard sale or a library. I got the VHS of Jeepers Creepers and watched it just a little bit too young. But it was one of my first horror movies that I watched on my own. So his face is in great, and he's, you know, one of the victims, I'll say, in Jeepers Creepers. So when I saw him in this movie, also funny enough, he gets his eyes gauged out. Which maybe we can cut that if we watch Jeepers Creepers.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
At some point, we'll watch.
We'll watch it. We'll watch it.
We can leave this in. We can leave this in.
But the director had never watched it, so he watched it after casting him for the movie.
Nice,
just to see what it was about. Let's see. Oh, the director. Oh my gosh, I haven't said his name, have I? Zach Krager. He's most famously known from the comedy group, The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh my gosh.
Watch any of those? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Cool.
That's him. He's one of them.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
went back and watched because they re-uploaded their videos on YouTube, I think. Right. If you look them up, it says they were posted 2 years ago, which is funny. Oh my gosh. It's such a flash from the past.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch it.
The actress who played Tess, Georgina Campbell, she hadn't heard of Whitest Kids You Know, but her boyfriend had. So she was reading the script and trying to decide whether or not to take the role. And, she told her boyfriend, like, oh, this is kind of what it's about. And he was like, wow, that sounds weird. That sounds kind of bad. And then she told him who was directing / writing it. And he was like, oh, no, you have to.
Oh, no, you have to do this.
You have to do it.
That's amazing.
He realized who it was.
Oh, I'm so glad she did. I really liked her.
Oh, she was so good. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think she's British because I saw an interview with her and she was speaking in, I'm assuming just her like regular, just British accent. Right. I was like, what?
It's so weird when that happens.
Yeah. It really freaks me out when
I know
actors have American accents. I don't know why.
I know.
It's so weird to me. Let's see. Oh, he did have the director. As I watched a lot of interviews with him because that's what I like to do. He did have 2 things that he clarified. One, the toothbrush on the floor had absolutely no symbolism. They just kind of kept flashing back to that.
I was very curious about that.
He felt that the sink just had too much stuff on it and that was just kind of a thing where, when you stay in a rental property or in a hotel or something, the outlets are always in the weirdest spot. Right. So you end up having to like plug things in on the floor.
All right.
No symbolism, nothing crazy other than that.
I get that.
And then the other thing was that the rental property company, I think a lot of people have theories that they were in on it. Mm-hmm. His thought was they were not in on it.
I was thinking they didn't.
Yeah. Like they just double booked it.
Right.
They just don't really pay attention and hadn't really sent cleaners. Like his thought was, they're just kind of bad managers.
Just drop the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. And I think that's it. I think that's all my fun facts.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, so I know we normally do with this time in history.
Oh, I wasn't going to do it for this one.
No, I know. And I know this one didn't have it, but they did allude to the fact that although this movie was shot in 2022, I'm guessing.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. They did allude to in the movie when the guy was initially being a creep, Reagan had just like sworn in.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. 1981.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear him.
So 1981, when, do we know Dad's name? Daddy's name? Frank. When Frank was initially
stop calling him Dad. Because I'm like, what do you mean? It's Trace. Like,
when Daddy was initially being creepy and shown to stalk the woman and take her and bring her into the house. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about just a few things that were happening in 1981.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
The population was 4.378 billion.
Wait, really?
Wow.
I think my favorite this time in history is going to be the population, because we're going to show this giant bubble and then we're going to come crashing because no one wants to have kids anymore because fuck the world.
We all say with being childless.
Yeah, none of us have kids in case we haven't made that clear.
I personally am child free. Mm-hmm. I am not going to have kids, but everyone else is up to their own devices.
Yeah. Everyone do what you want. Yeah.
Everyone else do what they want. Mm-hmm. Okay. The next thing of note in 1981 is that's when MTV started.
Oh shit.
Oh, damn.
MTV launched with 24 hours 7 days a week music videos. The biggest thing that they were playing when they first came out was Video Kills the Radio Star.
Oh,
which
my
is
gosh.
totally perfect for MTV.
Oh,
starting,
yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it even still a thing anymore?
It is. MTV does exist.
It was big when we so it was big when I was younger and it was actually music. And then when I was a kid, it became reality shows like the bus show or dating shows or whatever. And now I think it's probably just all crap.
I don't know what's on it, but I feel like recently I saw something and then it said on MTV.
Okay.
I was like, wait, what? That still exists.
All right. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981. The Supreme Court ruled that TV cameras were allowed in the courtrooms for the first time in 1981.
Interesting.
Which, you know what? Thank you. Thank you, Supreme Court. You've done a lot of fucked up shit, but I appreciate that one. It provides a lot of entertainment to me.
Yep.
Pac-Man was big.
Oh my God.
Everyone was playing Pac-Man. AIDS was first identified in 1981.
Damn it.
It's a bummer. IBM introduced the first personal computer.
Oh my gosh.
And Europe had the very first high-speed passenger train that began running from Lyons, France.
Interesting.
And somehow we still have no high-speed rail in the US.
No public transportation.
Somehow we still haven't figured it out.
So I only picked a couple because it wasn't really shot in 1981, but I thought maybe we could do a couple.
It's a glimpse of the 80s, you know? Yeah.
A glimpse of the 80s.
My favorite decade.
All right. Well, I feel like we should get into how many sips we want to give this movie.
Let's do it.
And also just kind of give your general consensus. What did you think of this movie? Because I feel like we could probably talk about this movie for another 2 hours and 100%. Not run out of things to say. So what did you think of it? And how many sips out of 5 are you giving this movie?
So I liked this movie. I liked that it got for me visceral reactions. I screamed at the screen. I swore at the screen. I called it a motherfucker. Like I was very upset, very into it. I think there were some issues of things that like I didn't love, but I think overall I would give the movie a 3.
Yeah.
Like it made an impression on, and a 3 is good for me. Like it made an impression. I liked it. I maybe would watch it one more time, but like, I don't know. I liked how fucked up it was. It was really like disturbing. So for that, I give it a lot of credit. And I liked the humor in it. So I don't know. Maybe I'd go a little bit above it. No, I'm still giving it a 3. I'm going to give it a 3. I liked it. It was solid. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking kind of similar. I think for me, there were so many things I loved about it. I actually kind of liked the mid-movie shift. I liked how much. I guess I don't. How long is the movie? I don't know if I checked.
It was only like an hour and 40 or something.
Yeah, like it's not a long movie, and I think they kind of successfully introduced us to a bunch of stuff. Like, which I think is part of the reason we can theorize and have so many questions about it for a while. So I liked that. I didn't like how many times I yelled at the screen, "Oh my God, Tess, please stop." Right. I wish that would have been a little bit more believable. So I think for me, I was thinking a little higher. I was thinking like a 3.5.
Okay.
But honestly, sometimes those are my favorite movies. Like my favorite movies are the like close to perfect, but have their flaws because you can discuss them for literally hours.
Exactly.
So I think for me, it's a 3.5.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to go with a 3.75 on this one.
Okay.
Because I got to see it in the theaters and I feel like it was a phenomenal theater experience. So for me, that bumps it up. And then I watched it again and on the second rewatch, loved it just as much. So like it held up for me. And so I think for me, when I can within a year span rewatch a movie and still enjoy it just as much, like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
That's a good sign.
I just loved the balance of what this movie gave us. So yeah, I'm a 3.75er.
Nice.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess
so
the movie
good.
experience adds to it. I totally missed this movie. Like I didn't even realize it was.
I went and saw
Me neither.
100,000 movies over the summer. So
Yeah.
my friend and I went and watched a
Oh,
ton
yeah.
of movies.
Mhm.
So I think this was just one of them.
For sure.
Mhm.
Props to her for bringing
Yeah.
this to my life.
Yes.
Okay, so next time on Spooky Sips, I am very excited. We are going back in time over 100 years ago.
Going way,
my
way
God.
I
back.
believe that it was 1919.
1921.
Okay, 1921. Oh,
Or no, sorry,
filmed in-
1920.
20.
Okay,
Mhm.
it was filmed in 19.
Filmed in 1919.
That's
Mhm.
what I'm thinking. So we're going back over 100 years ago
Yeah.
to the cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yes.
It's a silent movie. I am so excited for it. So if you haven't seen it, get watching and get sipping. And we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, subscribe, and leave a rating or review wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spookysips_podcast. Thanks again for listening. See you in 2 weeks for a new episode.